So good morning, friends. So till now we have discussed the introduction of our transmission and distributions, right? In the previous module. So what is the structure of power system? Then we have seen about what is the different source of energy, how to generate your electric energy by using of various sources, right? Then we have discussed the variable load on power system. Then we have compared the advantages and disadvantages of your high voltage transmission system, right? So then we have seen about what is the extra high voltage AC transmission and high voltage DC transmission system. Okay, so this is the one we have discussed in the previous module, this module 1, right? So now today we are going to go for a fun module 2, where we are going to see about the transmission line parameter. Okay, so it means we are going to discuss purely about our transmission line. We are going to discuss purely about our transmission line, right? So when it comes with respect of a transmission line, we use often transmission line conductors. So what is the often conductors? What is the often conductors? What is the often conductors? Anyone? So conductor is something but which going to often carries the current. It carries the current. Okay. So in our transmission line, the conductor is going to be often very, very important, right? So that's why here remember we are going to see about more on the transmission line conductors. We are going to discuss about the more transmission line conductors. So I think now you can able to see one conductors now. Visible? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Normally we used to have of your conductors, right? So normally when it comes with respect to so normally we used to have often conductors. These conductors in our transmission line will be of your copper conductors or aluminum conductors. It will be of your copper conductors or it will be of your aluminum conductors. So what I am right now I am showing to you is going to be your aluminum alloy conductors. It will be of your aluminum alloy conductors, right? So normally this will be used for your transmission and as well as of your distribution, right? The size. So remember the thickness. If you see here, remember the thickness. So this might be very depends upon your voltage level. This may be very depends upon your voltage level. So if you observe clearly, right, so there will be of nothing but 7 strands will be there in a conductor. You can able to see but there will be of 7 strands will be there in your conductor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There will be of spiral. There will be of a spiral one. Okay. So why we are going like this, we will discuss in this today's class. Okay. So normally if you see in our home, we used to have often copper. We used to have of your copper which is going to be often insulated because we are using in the console, there will be often insulated. So this won't be often insulated one. This conductor it won't be often insulated. For transmission distribution, we can use either the copper conductor or it may be a sheer aluminum conductor. But the conductor which we are going to choose for the transmission distribution, it should have some properties, right? In our what are the properties of this? What are the properties? If you want to choose the conductors, in a property, what are the properties should be there for the good conductor? For a good conductor, what are the properties? If you want to choose a conductor means it should have less resistance. It should have less resistance. Okay, conductors should have often less resistance. Next, what is the next thing? What is the next thing? See here, this conductor. So what about your weight? What about your weight? It will be of your low weight. It should be low weight. Third one. What are the properties should be there for often conductors? It should have high tensile strength. What is this? What is the meaning of tensile strength? What is the often tensile strength? Anyone? Any answers? What is the often tensile strength? What it means? What it means? You can able to see here nothing but if I see what happened. So just say anything but 2 times I have bended, then I have a breakdown has occurred. A breakdown in the conductor has occurred, right? This is due to the low tensile strength. This is due to of your low tensile strength. It means breakdown resistance should be high. It should be often higher, right? When you are stretching your conductors, right, it should have often high tensile strength. Then only there won't be often any breakdown. There won't be often any breakdown. Okay, so that is something, but we are calling it often tensile strength. That we are calling it of your tensile strength. And fourth is going to appear low cost. Fourth should be of your low cost, right? And fifth one, right? It should have low coefficient of expansion. When you are using of any conductor in our transmission line, that conductor should have of nothing but the property of electrical system. Those should have, the conductor should have this property. It should have less resistance. The conductor what we are using in our transmission line, it should have less resistance. It means the resistance should be often less, and the weight of the conductor should be often low weight, and the conductor should have often high tensile strength, and it should have low cost. Cost of the material should be often less. And fifth is going to appear low coefficient of expansion, because the conductor overhead transmission line is always going to be often exposed to different temperatures, different atmospheric conditions. So that's why the conductor should have a low coefficient of expansion, because during winter it will be of nothing but it's going to be of nothing but it will become often rigid. So during it's going to be often summer season, nothing but will happen due to often high temperature. So that may have often little expansion. It will be often little expansion. Okay, so that should be often avoided. So that's why if a conductor what we are going to use in our transmission line, it should have less resistance, low weight, high tensile strength, low cost, low coefficient of expansion. So based on that, we normally used to have often 2 types of conductors. One is going to be often copper, another one will be often aluminum. So we know about our copper. Copper is nothing but we have often very, very less resistance, right? And weight little bit is going to compare to aluminum. Weight of the copper is going to be often slightly high, right? But copper has high tensile strength. Copper has often high tensile strength, and nothing but the cost weight is going to be often higher. Cost weight will be higher, and will have often low coefficient of expansion. It's nothing but it's called the variation, the expansion normally is going to happen, but will be very less, right? So next material is going to appear aluminum. We cannot use often pure aluminum as often conductors. We use often aluminum composite as of here conducting this. Why pure aluminum? It will have often less tensile strength and less coefficient of expansion. So the higher coefficient expansion will be more. That's why we use often aluminum composite material as of here conductors. It means aluminum alloy, right? We'll use this of conductor. So copper, we are using the copper as well as often aluminum. Nowadays we are not using of the copper. So till 1980. 1990s only, up to 1990s only, we have used the copper for transmission. So later the cost has been increased, right? So then we have not gone for copper, right? And moreover, the theft is going to be higher when we are using of the copper for the transmission and distribution. So that's why they are going to be complete in our electrical system. We have avoided the copper. Okay. So now we are using only of an aluminum composite material only for our transmission line conductors. Okay. So what are the what are the advantages of your aluminum conductors? Normally we'll use of an aluminum and copper as of a conductor. So what are the advantages of our aluminum conductors over copper? So these are the properties should have for any electrical conductors, right? So normally we are choosing of an copper as well as of an aluminum. So if you choose of an aluminum, what are the properties of your aluminum? So aluminum will have of a low weight. If you choose aluminum as a conductor, so it will have of a low weight. The weight will be of a low. Second thing is nothing but high in conductivity. High in conductivity. Conductivity will be often higher in case of your aluminum, right? And it will have of your less coronal loss. This we are going to study in later part. What is the corona and what is their power loss, right? And cost wise is going to appear low cost. Cost wise, it will be appear low cost. So these are the advantages compared to aluminum versus copper, right? So if we choose of an aluminum will be of a low weight and it has of a high conductivity and less coronal loss, and cost is going to be often low. It means the material cost for making of the conductors. Because we have to make often stand conductors. Or if you use often copper means as a single rod, so the skin effect will be more. That's why we will not go for often single conductor. So here why we are not going for often as a, this is going, but if you use like this one as a single conductor means nothing but the effective resistance will be often more. So that's why we won't go for often but single conductor. We'll go for often stand conductors. Like this we'll go for often stand conductors. So why only but we have to avoid because we are transmitting AC supply. So we have to avoid our skin effect, right? So that's why here we are going for often stand conductors. So in the stand conductors, we normally will go in your aluminum material, right? So what are the different aluminum composite conductors we are available in our transmission? AAC, all aluminum conductors. So first one is going to appear AAC is going to appear all aluminum conductors, right? Second is going to appear AAAC, all aluminum alloy conductors, all aluminum alloy conductors. Third is going to appear ACSR, aluminum conductor, steel reinforced. So normally in transmission and distribution, we use often two conductors. One is maybe of an aluminum, other one is going to be a copper. So copper here in is a good conductor. Copper is going to be a very good conductor. You will have often all quality properties when you are using your transmission system. But only thing is nothing but the cost of the copper will be often higher compared to of your other conductors. So that's why we are not preferring to go for of your copper. So normally, if you see in your motor winding, we used to have often copper. So it will give often high efficiency. So likewise, copper will have of your higher properties compared to of your other. But the cost will be of your more. Cost will be of your more. So if you use of neighbor as neighbor for any conductor we are using in the transmission line, it should have some properties. What are the properties? It should have low resistance, right? And low high tensile strength, low cost, right? Low coefficient of expansion. So likewise the property is there. So here when you use of an aluminum, the aluminum is going to appear low weight, high conductivity, less corona loss, and low cost. So what are the different types combination of aluminum conductors we are using in our transmission line is AAC. AAC means nothing but all aluminum conductors. Will be here all aluminum conductors. So what next is going to be often AAC. It means all aluminum alloy conductors. All aluminum alloy conductors. Next is going to be often but ACSR. Aluminum conductor steel reinforced. It means nothing but what the conductor which I have shown here, nothing but will have of nothing but steel reinforced. So it means nothing but to increase the tensile strength of your aluminum conductors. So I have shown here but aluminum conductors will have often 7 strands will be there. 2, 4, 6 and 8. 7. 1, 6 plus 1, 7. Okay. So in the center part will have often steel reinforced so that it will give often high tensile strength. So that's why here normally in our transmission system, in the higher transmission, we use often ACSR conductors. ACSR conductors. It means aluminum conductor steel reinforced. Here is going to be a aluminum conductor alloy reinforced. We'll use the alloy for often reinforced tension to increase your tension. So this depends upon the voltage level and type of transmission. We'll choose the different types of aluminum conductors. What I have shown here for you is going to appear but all aluminum conductors. That is going to appear all aluminum conductors. Normally this will be used in your distribution system. This will be used in our distribution system. Okay. So for different transmission and distribution, we won't use the same type of aluminum conductors. We'll use often different composition of your aluminum conductors. Depends upon the tensile strength is going to be often what type of tensile strength is being considered. We'll choose the different type of aluminum conductors. Okay. So whether aluminum conductors have only the advantages, it also has its own disadvantages. So one of the more disadvantages here is going to be often nothing but so it will have often low tensile strength. It will have often if you use pure aluminum, it will have often low tensile strength, right? And it will have often nothing but coefficient of expansion will be often low. Coefficient of expansion because if the temperature varies, it may expand or contract. Okay. So next is going to be of nothing but it will have often nothing but larger area. The area is going to appear larger. See here nothing but the spiral one. This is nothing but the area is going to appear. This area is going to appear larger. This area is going to appear larger compared to of your copper. This is nothing but aluminum conductors will have often larger area. So when the larger area means the wind pressure will be larger. Wind pressure on the conductors will be appear larger. So these are the drawbacks in our aluminum conductors. So that can be overcome by any composite conductors. That can be overcome by using of any composite. So normally if a steel reinforced means but we have often steel will be there. So it will be often steel will be there in the center part. So surrounded by often 7 strands. So this is going to be of your steel reinforced conductor. This is stand conductor. This is going to be called as of your standard conductors. This is going to be called as of your standard conductors. Right? So this is going to be introduction. What about your transmission line conductors? So now we are going for our transmission line parameters. Right? So in your electrical circuits, you studied about your resistor, inductor, and capacitor. So what is the property of a resistor? What is the way of a resistor? So what is the property of your resistance? Resistor, what will do in your circuits? Anyone? Resistor na enna pa? What is the of a resistor? I think your electric circuit you have studied about your resistor, inductor and capacitor. It means here the opposite but resistor is going to have an opposite flow of current, that is the that is going to have called as of your resistance. That is going to have called as of your resistance, right? Which oppose the flow of current, that is going to have called as of your resistance, right? So resistance normally used in circuits to reduce the current depends upon the current flow. At what amount of current you want, you will decide the resistance, right? Which is going to oppose the flow of current, that the opposing force is going to call as of your resistance, right? So what about your inductor? What about your inductor? Inductor is going to store the energy in the form of magnetic field, right? So how much energy is going to be stored, that depends upon your inductance. That is going to depend upon your inductance, right? The opposing force for the flow of current in your inductor, that is going to appear inductance. Similarly here, there is going to appear capacitance. This is going to appear capacitance, right? So in your electrical circuits, only if you take off in your mobile charger, if you take off your mobile charger, if you see inside that one, we'll have nothing but resistance will be there, and there will be a capacitor will be there. There will be a capacitor will be there. Okay. If you open your nothing but your stabilizer, which you are using in your home, if you open it, so there will be nothing but we'll have nothing but resistor will be there, inductor will be there, capacitor will be there. Okay. If you remove that component, from the circuit, it will not be present in the circuit, correct? It will not present in your circuit. It will be often removed. So when any component physically you be able to remove that component, so what type that circuit is going to occur? What is the type of circuit? What is the type of circuit? I think in your circuit theory you have studied, no? Someone answer me. Someone answer me. Reader 136. Reader 136.
Sir?
Yes.
Can you repeat the question, sir? Sir?
If you are able to remove the element from your circuit, then the circuit is called as circuit. What is the circuit? Physically separable condition, that type of circuits you classify the circuits, no? Unilateral circuit, bilateral circuits, active circuit, passive circuits, like that you have classified different in the name of different things, no? So what is often but that type of circuit? Anyone? I think you did an experiment in your electric circuits lab, no? You did your experiment. Experiment பண்ணீங்களா electrical circuits lab la? Sir, audible? I am audible.
Sir, audible தான் sir.
Okay, no, I am not getting any response. That's why I got. Velmurugan. Velmurugan. 140.
இப்ப வேல்முருகன் லைன்ல இல்ல சார்.
Okay. Ruben.
சார்
சர்க்யூட் தியரி லேப் பண்ணீங்களாப்பா?
பண்ணேன் சார்.
அங்க எதுல பண்ணீங்க?
சரியா ஞாபகம் இல்லை சார், மறந்துட்டேன்.
கரண்ட்ல வோல்டேஜ்ல எல்லாம் செக் பண்ணி பாத்தீங்கல்ல? பண்ணி பாத்தீங்கல்ல? மறந்துட்டீங்களா? அத காம்பனன்ட்ல எதுல பிளேஸ் பண்ணீங்க? ரெசிஸ்டர் வோல்ட்மீட்டர் கனெக்ஷன்ல எதுல கொடுத்தீங்க? given the connection on your breadboard, no? breadboard தான் கொடுத்தீங்க.
ஆமாங்க சார், breadboardல தான்.
So when you needed, you have inserted the element. When you are not needed, you have removed that element, no? Element வைக்க முடியும் உங்களால. You can insert your element or you can able to remove your element. Okay, so that type of system, but if you able to separate that element from your circuit, then the circuit is going to have called as of your lumped circuit. That circuit is going to have called as of your lumped circuit. If you open your charger, right? If you open your charger, there will be often but printed PCB board will be there. On that printed PCB board, there will be often different components will be there, like resistor, capacitor, and but you will have often rectifier will be there, bridge rectifier will be there, or IC will be there. So those components you can able to remove it from the circuit. Those components you can able to remove it from the circuit, or you can insert from inside the circuit, right? So that type of circuit is going to have called as of your lumped circuit. That is going to have called as of your lumped circuit, right? The same thing when comes with respect of transmission line conductors. When it comes with respect of your transmission line, it means our electrical parameter. So our electrical parameter. What are the parameter means? Resistance, inductance, capacitance, right? So resistance, inductance, capacitance, and conductance. These parameters will present in our transmission line conductors, which cannot be separable. So that type of element circuit here is going to have called as of your distributed circuit. It is going to have called as of your distributed circuit. It is going to have called as of your distributed circuit. Okay, so where that phenomena is going to happen exists on the conductor, but it cannot able to separate that element from physically from your circuit. Then the circuit here is going to have called as of your distributed circuit. So one of the examples for your distributed circuit is going to have your transmission line, right? So in electrical circuit, normally circuit is going to have called as of your lumped circuit and distributed circuit. This is going to call as of your lumped circuit and distributed circuit. This is going to call as of lumped circuit or distributed circuit. Okay, so lumped circuit means you can able to physically remove the element from your circuit, then the circuit is going to call as a lumped circuit, right? So when you are not able to remove it physically from your circuit, then that is going to be called as of your distributed circuit. It means the resistor will be there, which opposing the flow of current. That is going to call as of resistance, right? Inductor, which has the property and will have opposing the flow of current. That is going to happen inductance. It means it's going to absorb the energy in the form of magnetic field. So that is going to call as of here is going to happen inductance, right? Capacitor also is going to absorb the energy in the form of electrostatic field. That is here is going to call as of here capacitance. That is going to be called as of your capacitance. So it means the resistance, inductance, and capacitance. This phenomena will be present in your transmission line. This phenomena will be present in the transmission line, which you cannot able to separate from your elements, separate from your circuit. So that's why that the transmission line is going to be called as of your distributed circuit. That is going to be called as of your distributed circuits, right? So now this parameter is going to be an important in our transmission line. This is going to be called as of your this resistance, inductance, capacitance, and conductance. This is going to be called as of your transmission line parameters. This is going to be called as of your transmission line parameter. If you want to design a good transmission line, you have to know about the parameter in your transmission line. So then only you can able to design a good transmission line which has often higher efficiency and good voltage regulation. Good voltage regulation. If a transmission line, if you want to design a transmission line, means if the design transmission line, if you need to have often good efficiency and good voltage regulation, then you have to know about these parameters. So this you can call as of a transmission line parameter, or you can call as of a transmission line constants. So this will be distributed throughout your transmission line. It will be distributed throughout your transmission line. It will be present throughout your transmission line. Suppose I am this is going to be of my transmission line conductor, right? So this is my transmission line conductor. This is going to be of my transmission line conductors. Okay, I have told you that we will have the resistance, inductance, and capacitance and conductance will be there. So if you take a three-phase line, you have like this. You will have often three conductors will be there, right? So this is going to be often one conductor. This will be of your conductor, right? Each and every material has its own resistance, which oppose the flow of current. So if here I am using aluminum, aluminum will also has often low resistance. It has its resistance, but it is going to be often low. So here that resistance will be there, exist, but I cannot able to remove it physically. If I remove complete conductor only, the resistance will be removed from the circuit. It's not like that in your printed circuit board. If I have an electrical circuit board means, but I can able to remove that component physically. But here that physically I cannot able to remove it. It means the resistance will be there in my conductor, but I cannot able to remove it physically. So that resistance limit will be present throughout the length of the conductor. If it's going to have 100 kilometer length means throughout the 100 kilometer length, the resistance will be there, but I cannot able to remove it physically. I cannot able to remove it physically. So that limit will have the property of limit. That property will be there in the conductor. That limit will have the limit parameter will be there. It is going to have resistance. When the current flows in the circuits, when the current flows in the circuit, that will be of an inductance. Why? Because as the current flows through this conductor, a magnetic lines of force is going to often exist. As the magnetic lines of forces exist, so that the links with the conductor, and in the universe, inductance will be there in your circuits. Inductance will be there in your circuits. As the current flows, right, magnetic lines of force is going to often exist. I think you heard about your solenoid. Right? What is a solenoid? If I take a metal piece and around the metal piece, if I wound a copper conductor and if I apply the voltage, means this iron piece may be moving in the directions. It's going to be a solenoid. So that is due to of limit. As the current flows in the coil, what will happen? A magnetic flux is going to induce the solenoid to work. So similarly here in the conductor, right? If the current alternating current flows, there will be often inductance is going to often exist. There will be often inductance will be existing in the conductor, which I cannot able to remove it from my circuit, right? So here I am having upon one phase R phase. Similarly, I have my Y phase, right? So between R phase and Y phase, there is a nothing but air is often medium. But due to the potential, then you get higher potential. Because transmission line normally voltage will be higher. It means 110 kilovolt or 220 kilovolt like that. So due to the higher voltage, the air is upon medium is going to have it gets now ionization. So when it's going to have ionization, then the ions is going to deposit on the surface of the conductors. So which forms your capacitance. What is the capacitance? The anode and cathode separated by a dielectric medium. When you apply the potential, what will happen? So positive and negative ions will be deposited on the respective anode and cathode. Okay. So here similarly, when air is of a medium, it will be get ionized, and the ions, positive ions and negative ions will be depositing on the conductor. So there exists often capacitance. there will be often capacitance will be existing between the conductors, right? So which I cannot able to remove it physically from the circuit. Conductance is nothing but the areas of medium, there will be opposing force will be there. So shunt resistance will be there between the conductors. Shunt resistance will be there between the conductors. So it means the phenomena of resistor, inductor and capacitor will be present in my circuit, which I cannot able to separate physically from the circuit. Which I cannot able to remove it physically from the circuit. That is going to call us up. That is the only that is going to call us up here. And type of circuit is going to call us up here. Distributed circuit. And parameter of resistance, inductance and capacitor is going to call us up here. Transmission line parameter. So here what we are going to see is nothing but transmission line parameter of resistance, inductance, capacitance and conductance we are going to see. So if it's going to be of nothing but uniform current, then the resistance will be less. So we know about the effective resistance in your DC. What is the effective resistance in your DC? The effective resistance in DC here is going to be nothing but R is equal to often rho into R will be equal to often rho into L by A, where rho is going to be a specific resistivity of that material and L is going to be of the length of the conductor and A is going to be a cross section area. So your R is going to be depends upon rho into L by A if uniform current density with constant temperature. So here in the same thing is going to be often applicable for our transmission line also. Resistance here is going to depend upon the resistivity of that material. It is going to have resistivity of the material and the cross-sectional area of your conductors. Cross-sectional area of your conductor. So we can write what is that as the temperature varies, your resistance also going to have to get varies. So you can write it in terms of temperature coefficient also. What about your resistance of your material? Okay. So one of the best example for your distributed circuits, one of the best example for your distributed circuit is going to have a transmission line. So transmission line is going to have the best example for your distributed circuit. It means the electrical parameter of resistor, inductor and capacitor will be present. This resistance, inductance and capacitance will be present throughout your circuit, which you cannot able to separate physically. Physically means I cannot able to remove it by hand. I which the component remove from the circuit. Remove the circuit lumped circuit. So remove that is going to call a circuit distributed circuit. Distributed circuit best example is going to have the transmission line. A transmission line, our conductor, it will have its resistance. Throughout the length of the transmission line, it will have the resistance. As the current flows, there will be a inductance will be there, right? As the current flows, there will be a flux linkage will be. As the flux linkage varies, there will be a inductance will be there in the circuit, right? And conductance, but that is between the conductors, there will be a opposing force will be there. So that is going to be called as of your conductance. If conductance is going to occur, these nothing but reciprocal of your resistance only is going to be called as of your conductance, right? So here then we will have upon capacitance, because transmission line will have upon R phase, Y phase, and B phase, right? So between the conductors, R phase and Y phase and B phase, between the conductors, air is often medium. Air will be, because over a transmission, air will be of your medium. So as the high voltage forces, then but one will act as a anode, other will act as a cathode. There will be a but the air is going to get ionized, and the ions will be deposited on the surface. So this forms your capacitance between your transmission. So capacitance is going to have an exit, so which I cannot able to remove it physically. So it means that the electrical parameters of R, L, C, and G will be present throughout the circuit. That type of transmission line here is going to call as a distributed parameters in your transmission line. Okay, that is going to call as a distributed parameter or transmission line parameters, or you can call it often transmission line constant parameters, which is about R, L, and C. So here R and G is going to be often very less. Yes, the resistance, because if you use of aluminum is going to be often less resistance, right? But compared to often copper is going to be often pure conductor, but the aluminum will have often less resistance. So that is going to be often negligible. So that's why even the important parameter in your transmission line, which decides your efficiency and your voltage regulation, is going to occur L and C. Why? Because R is going to happen, the effective resistance in your DC line R will be equal to here rho into L by A. Okay, so the resistance, which is going to be often present through the transmission line. Similarly, inductance and capacitance will be present through this transmission line. So now we'll see what is your inductance and capacitance. What is the of your inductance and capacitance? Then we'll go for often next part. So when it comes to resistance, the effective AC resistance is going to be, but current density is going to be of uniform. So DC resistance is equal, effective DC resistance will be equal to resistance of your transmission. That is nothing but rho into L by A, right? But as the temperature varies, the resistance of the material is also going to be often varies. I can able to write the resistance in terms of temperature coefficient also. I can able to write the resistance with the temperature coefficients. Okay. What is our main aim here in our in this module? We are going to calculate what will be the value of, suppose if I take this conductor, if I am taking this transmission line, right, as the current flows, what will be the value of my inductance in this transmission line? How much value will be there in the inductance? Because as the inductance varies, my voltage will be get drops. Okay, so capacitance is going to increase the voltage. How the voltage is going to get increased? Right? So that's why I have to calculate. If I want to design a transmission line, means I have to calculate for if I am going this type of material in the transmission line. So if for the length of 100 kilometers, what will be the value of inductance, or what will be the value of capacitance? If I want to calculate this, then I have to calculate what is the value of conductance in our transmission line and conductance capacitance in our transmission line. That's how I am going to calculate. But we are going to we are going to calculate only. We are going to discuss in the first half of your module 2. Okay. Then we are going to analyze the performance of the transmission line after later part of your module 2. So in module 2, first we are going to calculate the transmission line parameters. We are going to calculate the transmission line parameters. After calculating the transmission line parameters, then we are going to calculate the performance of your transmission line. So in your circuit theory, you studied about how you are going to construct an inductor. So as best example you have taken about your solenoid, right? So a piece of iron piece, which is wounded by a copper conductor, and you apply the potential, nothing but that is become of an inductor. Okay, so see, but I'm taking of an iron piece, and the iron piece is going to be often bounded by a conductor, right? If you apply the potential, then that become of a inductor. That become of a inductor. How? As the current flows, alternating current flows, a magnetic lines of force is going to often exist. That remember, as the current varies, that magnetic lines of force also going to often gets varies, and that will link with respect to the conductor, and EMF is going to be often induced in the conductor. It means inductor another is going to have inductor. Inductor is nothing but it stores the energy. It stores the energy. How it's going to often stores the energy means it's going to often stores the energy in the form of electromagnetic field, EMF. Electromagnetic field, right? Electromagnetic field, right? So how it's going to store this? There will be of magnetic lines of force. So best but if you take off on one permanent magnet, or permanent magnet, I have of my north pole and south pole, north pole as well as often south pole, right? So there will be of magnetic lines of force. How to visualize the magnetic lines of force? Every exists, visualize. How we can able to visualize? If you take off on some crushed iron piece, metal piece or iron piece, crushed, right? So that if you sprinkle on that one, if you sprinkle over that magnetic permanent magnet, that iron pieces will be concentrating like this. Concentration, right? And it will be like this. If you try to sprinkle it, it will be nothing but. So likewise, if the current flows, as a current flows, right? As the current flows in the conductor, a magnetic lines of force is going to often exist. That magnetic lines of force is going to appear circular. It means like this, right? As the current varies, this magnetic lines of force also going to often gets varies. That is going to have links with the coil, and EMF is going to often induced in this coil. So this way, the inductor will store the energy. So is remember, as per the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, E is directly proportional to rate of change of flux with respect to of your time. So E is going to limit flux. When the flux is going to often varies, the flux is going to often varies due to the varying current. It means d phi by phi is going to be varying with respect to the current. It means if the current varies with respect to of time, the flux is going to often gets varies, and EMF is going to often induced. So this nothing but d phi by dit is going to be nothing but we are calling it often L, nothing but inductance of that conductor, inductance of your line, where L is going to be nothing but flux linkage per unit ampere of current. Flux linkage per unit ampere of current. So that is nothing but here inductance here is going to be nothing but flux linkage per unit ampere of current. That is going to be called as a inductance of that conductor. Inductance of that conductor. Okay. So if you take up a transmission line, the transmission line will have a inductance. Why I have drawn like this along with the resistance? With inductance won't be separate. It's a coil. Coil has its own resistance. So it means but it's not a pure inductance. It's a resistive inductance. So that's why I have drawn here with resistance, and it will be distributed throughout the transmission line. It will be normally if you see in the transmission line, it will be distributed throughout the transmission line. So ZL is going to be of my load, and the load impedance will be there. Okay. So remember, it will be distributed throughout the transmission line. So for our, and this is going to appear throughout the transmission, this is a conventional. Okay. For our analysis purpose, I am lumping together. Lumping together. It means I'm lumping the resistance and inductance in the transmission line for analysis purpose. Okay. So what is the inductance? Inductance is something but what is the flux? Remember, is equal to flux linkage per unit ampere of current. That is going to be called as your inductance. So now for our transmission line, we have to calculate what is the value of your inductance. If you want to calculate the value of the inductance, means you have to calculate what is your flux linkage. What is your flux linkage. If you know about your flux linkage, then you can able to calculate what about your inductance in your transmission line. What about your inductance in your transmission line? Inductance in the is going to have a flux linkage per unit ampere of current is going to have called as of your inductance. If you want to calculate your inductance, means you have to calculate your flux linkage. If you know your flux linkage, then you can able to calculate your inductance in your transmission line. Okay, so for recollecting, you have to recollect with the basics of your inductance. Then only can inductor. Then only can able to write your L will be equal to flux linkage per unit ampere of current. How we got it in as the magnetic lines of force varies, if the varying magnetic lines of force is going to interact with your coil, and EMF is going to increase as per the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So it means E is directly proportional to rate of change of flux. When the flux is going to varies, as the current varies, the flux is going to often gets varies. So that's why here the rate of change only I am writing in terms of current, di by dt. So current varies means my flux is going to varies. It means E will be equal to often N into d phi by dt. It means N will be equal to often phi by I. Rate of change here is going to often in terms of current. Okay. So here when I take off on transmission line, conductor will be single conductor. So it will be one. It means if you are able to know your flux linkage, then you can able to calculate your inductance. Okay. So this is your inductance in your transmission line. Then what about your conductor? Capacitance. So we know that the capacitance is nothing but if you have two electrodes separated by an anode and cathode, right? Capacitor is nothing but anode and cathode separated by a dielectric medium. That is nothing but is going to have called as software. This is a dielectric medium separated by a dielectric medium. This is nothing but is going to have called as software capacitor. The electrode will be anode and cathode. Two electrodes will be there separated by a dielectric medium. So this is going to have called as a capacitor. When you apply the potential across the capacitor, then the charge is going to have accumulated, and if the path exists, then the charge is going to have released. How the charge is going to have formed is going to have an electrostatic field. Electrostatic field. Right, based on the is going to have a charge is going to so it means the capacitance C is nothing but charge per potential is going to have called as of a capacitance. That is going to be called as often charge by potential is going to be your capacitance. C is equal to often Q by V. So in our transmission line also between the conductors, it means between the conductors and the three conductors will be there in your transmission line, right? So between the conductors there is a capacitance going to be fixed because but dielectric medium there is going to be an air is going to be a dielectric medium. As the potential increases, but air is going to be going to become a conductor in the ionization. If it ionization, the ions is going to be positive ions, negative ions is going to be deposit on the respect to one electrode. Okay, so that forms your capacitance. So in our transmission line also there will be often capacitance will be there. So that between of your line conductor. So here but the capacitance I be like inductor I cannot able to lump your capacitance. As the distance varies, the capacitance effect is going to be different. So that we are going to discuss elaborately in the latter part. Okay, when we are deriving the expression, why, how, and analyzing the performance of the transmission line, why we should not consider the lumped in value of your capacitance. Inductance we can able to lump together, but capacitance for analysis purpose we cannot able to lump. But for simple analysis purpose we can able to lump our capacitance in our transmission line. Okay, so if you take up on transmission line, the transmission line will have upon 4 parameters R, L, C, and Z conductance. Okay, so out of this R and Z will be of very less, and inductance and capacitance is going to be more important in case of your transmission line. So now we are going to see that how to calculate the inductance of your transmission line and what is the value of your inductance in your transmission line and what is the value of your capacitance in your transmission line. It means how you are going to calculate the inductance value and capacitance value in the transmission line. If we are able to calculate the value of inductance and capacitance, then only we can analyze the performance of your transmission line in terms of efficiency and voltage regulation. Okay, so how efficiently we can able to transmit the power from sending to of your receiving end value. Okay. So we can able. So now we got the idea about what is the inductor and capacitor, right? So how about the effect about inductance and capacitance in our transmission line? So first we'll move on to the first one here in the but how to calculate the inductance in our transmission line. How to calculate the inductance in our transmission line. So for calculating inductance in a conductor, I am taking up a single conductor. The single conductor having a length of L length. I'm considering the conductor having a length of L length. For the L length conductor, the current flowing through the conductor is going to appear I ampere, right? I'm taking the cross-sectional V of the conductor. This is going to be the cross-sectional V of my conductor. In the cross-sectional V of conductor, having a radius of R radius. To calculate the inductance in the single conductor, inductance is flux linkage per unit ampere of current. I have number inductance of inductance is number flux linkage per unit ampere of current that is going to cause here inductance. I have to calculate what is the flux linkage for the L length of the conductor. What is the flux linkage? Then I can calculate what is the inductance in this conductor. Okay. So if I want to calculate the flux linkage, I have to calculate the flux linkage. Here the flux linkage will be 2, right? So there will be a number flux linkage. One is number due to the current flow in the conductor, there will be a magnetic lines of force will be inside the conductor. So there will be an internal flux. There will be a internal flux. Due to the current flowing through the conductor, there will be a magnetic lines of force is going to exist on the outer surface of the conductor. Remember, external flux will be there, right? So here, the inductance here is the flux linkage. This flux linkage inductance is going to be flux linkage per unit ampere of current. So this flux linkage is going to be the total flux linkage in this conductor. The total flux linkage in this conductor will be there will be a magnet due to the current flow in the conductor. There will be a magnetic lines of force is going to be exist. So that will be through the conductor and the outer circumference. Remember, if you take an Ampere's law, right hand rule, Maxwell right hand rule. So as the current flows, what will happen? Current flows, the direction of magnetic lines of force is going to happen like this. The folded fingers will give here. If the current flow in the conductor is going to happen, shows your thumb, the direction of your magnetic lines of force is going to happen in this direction. Okay, so it means if the current flows in this direction, remember it will be often circular. So it will be circular. So circular means it's going to happen, but the magnetic lines of force is going to happen circular in both sides, and there will be a magnetic lines of force inside them. So the flux linkage. So in that number, the flux linkage is going to happen. Due to the flux linkage is going to happen internal flux linkage plus your external flux linkage. Due to your internal flux linkage as well as of the external flux linkage, that is going to have the total flux linkage in a single conductor. Total flux linkage in a single conductor. Okay, I am taking off a single conductor. To calculate the inductance of the transmission line, I cannot able to take the full length of the transmission line. I have considered upon single conductor. That single conductor having a length of L length, which carries a current of I ampere of current is flowing through this conductor. So for this I ampere of current flowing through the L length conductor, what will be of my inductance? So inductance is nothing but is going to occur flux linkage by unit ampere of current is going to called as of your inductance. It means if I am able to calculate the inductance flux linkage in this conductor, then I can able to calculate my inductance. Okay. Here, if we come with the flux linkages, if we come here with respect of your flux linkage, the flux linkage will be upon two things. One is going to be upon internal flux linkage, another one is going to be upon external flux linkage. If you apply your Maxwell right hand rule, right? So here, remember, as a conductor current, remember, this thumb shows your current direction, and the remember, the folded finger will show the direction of your magnetic lines of force. As the current shows, the magnetic lines of force is going to appear circular, as per the Maxwell right hand thumb rule. Okay, so here remember the flux linkage, remember there will be often flux, magnetic lines of force will be internal as well as external magnetic lines of force will be there. So that your flux linkage also will be often internal flux linkage plus external flux linkage. First, I am going to calculate what about my internal flux linkages. What about my internal flux linkage? Then for the internal flux linkage, what is the internal flux linkage I am going to calculate. Next, I am going to calculate what about my external flux linkage. If I add, I can able to get my total flux linkage in a single conductor. Then I can able to calculate what about my inductance of my transmission, inductance of my single conductor. So with the base principle, I can apply for my transmission line. Okay. So to calculate the flux linkages, I have considered upon L length of conductor. I have taken up cross-sectional base, which having a radius of R radius. Right? In this R radius, I am going to consider upon small cross-sectional, right? Which is going to be located at a distance of x. At a distance of x, right? I am considering the cross-sectional at a distance of x. So in the this cross-sectional limit, I am taking as of here dx. Cross-sectional value is going to be of my dx. Okay, and I am considering a unit length. I am considering a unit length of this cross-section. That unit length is going to be of my dl. That unit length I am going to have of an dx. So at the end, but I cannot able to calculate the complete flux linkage in this cross section. So I am going to consider a cross sectional dx at a distance of x, right? In that I am taking up a unit length. In this unit length, if I able to calculate what is the flux linkages, then automatically I can able to calculate the flux linkage in the entire circumference. I can able to calculate the flux linkage in the entire circumference. Okay, so this is the limit how I am going to calculate the flux linkage. Any doubt? Is that doubt about? இப்ப புரிஞ்சுதா என்ன சொல்றேன்னு? ஏதாவது டவுட் இருக்குதா? எனி டவுட்? சேட்ல போறீங்க, சேட்ல போட்டா நான் வந்து ஒவ்வொரு டைம் இங்க பார்க்கணும் ரெஸ்பான்ஸ்.
சார் 1 செகண்ட் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண சொல்லிருக்காங்க சார்.
ஓகே சார், ஓகே சார். So transmission line parameters பார்த்தீங்கன்னா transmission line parameter will nothing but resistance, inductance, capacitance and conductance. The 4 parameters of transmission line parameter, right? இதுல பார்த்தீங்கன்னா R and G is going to be appear less, value will be less in your transmission line. So that's why we are not giving much importance on the transmission line calculation, parameter calculation. So main parameter வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா inductance and capacitance is going to be a main parameter in our transmission line, which decides the performance of our transmission line. Okay. So here remember how we are going to calculate the inductance and capacitance in the transmission line only we are going to discuss in the transmission line parameter first half of your module 1. Okay. So for calculating the inductance of the transmission line, I am considering a single conductor. It means remember, if assume this is going to be a single, this is a single conductor. Assume this is remember white chalk. Remember, this is a single conductor. The transmission line means remember it will for a 100 kilometer length or 50 kilometer length or 200 kilometer length of transmission line will be there. So I cannot able to calculate what is the value of the inductance directly in the that length of the transmission line. So what will be the value of the inductance in the transmission line? To calculate that one, I am considering a single conductor. I am considering a single conductor which having a length of L length. Having a length of L length. In the L length, when a current of I ampere is flowing, what will be of my inductance I am going to calculate. So for that, I am taking the cross-sectional view of this conductor. I am taking the cross-sectional view of my conductor. So when I am considering a single conductor, in the single conductor, I have to calculate my inductance. Inductance, what is the inductance? Flux linkage by unit ampere of current is nothing but it's going to be called as of inductance. Flux linkage per unit ampere of current, that is going to be called as of my inductance. If I able to calculate the flux linkage, then I can able to calculate what about my inductance in a single conductor. Right? This I can apply the same principle for my transmission line also, right? Because the length will be gets varies. Only the length is going to be of gets varies. For that length, I can able to calculate what about my inductance. So if I want to calculate the flux linkage, it means I have to calculate my flux linkage. I have to calculate my flux linkage. If I want to calculate the flux linkage, I have to know about what is the flux, right? As the current flows, but here if I want to calculate the inductance, means I have to know about my flux linkage. Flux linkage, right? If I know the flux, if I want to calculate the flux linkage, means I have to know about my flux density. What is my flux density. Flux linkage calculate பண்ணனும்னா எனக்கு வந்து flux density எவ்வளவு இருக்குன்னு தெரிஞ்சாதான் என்னால flux linkage calculate பண்ண முடியும். Flux density calculate பண்ணனும்னா I have to calculate my magnetic field intensity. Right? If I want to calculate the inductance of the transmission line, means the inductance of the transmission line is nothing but flux linkage per unit ampere of current. Unit ampere of current. That is nothing but is going to be called as Fourier inductance. So here I know the I is going to be the unit ampere of current which flows through the conductor. It means if I able to calculate the flux linkage, then I can able to calculate my inductance. If I want to calculate the flux linkage means, I have to know about my flux density. I have to know about my flux density. எவ்வளவு flux density தெரியணும்னா then I have to know about my magnetic field intensity. Magnetic field intensity எவ்வளவு தெரிஞ்சுனா then I can able to calculate my flux density. Flux density calculate பண்ணா I can able to calculate my flux linkage. Okay, so this is it means you have to recap your magnetic circuits. In electric circuits படிச்ச மாதிரி இந்த physics ல வந்து you have studied about your magnetic circuits. Right? What is my flux? What is my of magnetic field? What is my of magnetic field density? Right? Reluctance, magnetomotive force. So that you have to recollect it out. So if you know that one, then only we can able to calculate your inductance. Right? So here for calculating the inductance, I have to calculate the flux linkage. For calculating the flux linkage, I have to know about my flux density. If I know the flux density, if I want to know the flux density, means I have to know about my field intensity. First I am going to calculate what is my field intensity. Then for the field intensity, what is my flux density? If I calculate the flux density, means I can able to calculate my flux linkages. If I calculate the flux linkage, means I can able to calculate my inductance of a single conductor. Then this is the value, but here the flux linkage is going to be often two things. One is going to be often internal flux linkage, another one is going to be of external flux linkage. So when a current flows in the conductor, your conductor assume is going to be of conductor. When the current flows in the conductor, there will be of magnetic lines of force will be there. That magnetic lines of force will be as per the Maxwell right hand thumb rule, it will be of but if the current is going to be in this direction, your current in this direction is your flux will be of but magnetic field will be in the like this. It means it will be of a circular. So here it is going to be of but it will be like this. So it will be larger distance for upper, it will look like a straight line. But actually this is going to be appear in circular. Okay, so the flux magnetic lines of force never make flux density. So here this flux is going to have links in the conductor, and there will be a magnetic lines of force inside the conductor. So there will be often two flux linkages will be there. One is due to often magnetic lines of force inside the conductor. There will be often flux linkage internally, and due to the magnetic lines of force external, there will be often external flux linkages will be there. Right? So first, initially we are going to calculate what is the internal flux linkage. Then I'm going to calculate what is the external flux linkage. As the current flows through the conductor, there will be magnetic lines of force inside the conductor as well as the outside the conductor. So inside the what is the magnetic due to the inside magnetic lines of force, what is the flux linkage? Then what is the outside magnetic lines of force? What is the flux linkage? Then I can able to get my total flux linkage of my conductor. So first I'm going to calculate the flux linkage due to of an internal flux. Right? It means due to the magnetic lines of force inside the conductor, what is the flux linkage? So if I want to calculate, means first I have to calculate what is the magnetic field intensity. Then for this magnetic field intensity, what is my flux density? Then if I able to calculate the magnetic flux density, then I can able to calculate my magnetic flux linkages. I can able to calculate my magnetic flux linkages. So for calculation, I have taken off an L length of the conductor which having a current of 5 ampere. I am taking up the cross sectional view. In this cross sectional view, I have having a radius of R radius. Right? So instead of considering the complete circumference, I am considering of nothing but at x distance, I am taking up the cross sectional. So that cross sectional is going to be of my dx. In that unit, I am considering a unit length of dl. I am considering a unit length of dl. Okay. So here I am going to calculate what is the area of this one. For x, what is my area? What is my area? For x distance, what is my area of this one? What is my area? Cylinder, no? I have considered of a cylinder. Then what is my area? What is my area? I have considered a straight solid conductor. I consider a straight solid conductor which carrying the current of I ampere. Right? When the current of I ampere is flowing, there is a magnetic field is going to often exist on the conductor. That magnetic field be inside the conductor as well as outside the conductor. If I calculate what is the flux linkage due to the magnetic lines of force inside the conductor and due to the magnetic lines of force on the outside the conductor, then I can able to calculate my inductance. Okay. If any but current in this here is going to means what is my area? X distance in area on the circumference. புரிஞ்சதுலையாப்பா? இப்போ the complete இந்த circumference ஃபுல்லா நான் எடுக்காம அது ஒரு பார்ட்டை மட்டும் எடுத்துட்டேன். அந்த ஒரு பார்ட் தான் இங்க வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா ப்ளூ கலர்ல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா I have drawn here. Complete circumference எடுக்காம ரைட் இந்த சர்க்கம்ஃபரன்ஸ் மட்டும் x டிஸ்டன்ஸ் இருக்க சர்க்கம்ஃபரன்ஸ் மட்டும் கிராஸ் செக்ஷன் மட்டும் கன்சிடர் பண்றேன். அந்த கிராஸ் செக்ஷன் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா dx செக்ஷன் மட்டும் எடுத்துக்கிறேன். அந்த dx செக்ஷன்ல டேக்கன் ஆஃப் யூனிட் லென்த், ஒரு யூனிட் லென்த்தை மட்டும் எடுத்துக்கிறேன். இந்த யூனிட் லென்த்ல எவ்வளவு ஃப்ளக்ஸ் லிங்கேஜ் இருக்குன்னு தெரிஞ்சுன்னா that is going to be applicable for this and this circumference. So that is going to be applicable for the r radius. For r radius. Okay. So என்ன பண்ண போறோம்னா what is the flux linkage கால்குலேட் பண்ணணும். அப்ப கால்குலேட் பண்றப்ப நம்ம மேக்னெட்டோமோட்டிவ் ஃபோர்ஸ் என்னங்கிறது தெரியும். ஆம்பியர் லா, you have to know about your ampere law, right? So then two things are very very important here. What is your magnetic field and what is about your magnetic field intensity and what about your ampere law? What is your ampere law? Anyone answer? What is your ampere law? You studied in your physics, no? Higher grade school, you have studied about your ampere law. What is your ampere law? Anyone?
Sir, board தெரியல சார் இப்ப.
இப்ப போர்டு தெரியலீங்களா?
ஆமா சார், இப்ப கொஞ்சம் ஒரு 10 செகண்ட்ல தெரியல.
ஓ, பேண்ட்வித் இஷ்யூ இருக்குங்க சார், ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்காக இதாயிரும். என்ன காலேஜ் நெட்ல தான் கனெக்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறோம். வாய்ஸ் சார், வாய்ஸ் சார்.
வாய்ஸ் கேக்குதுங்க சார். அந்த இதுதான்.
ஓகே ஓகே.
ஸ்கிரீன் தான் இப்ப போயிருக்கு சார். அது இது நம்ம வீடியோ இது மட்டும் வரல. இப்ப
வீடியோ வரலீங்களா?
வீடியோ வரல சார். வீடியோ
students, someone respond me whether you're getting the video or not.
Yes sir.
Video தெரியுதாமா? blackboard தெரியுதா?
Yes sir. Yes sir, தெரியுது சார். இப்போ ஒரு
ரைட். இப்ப ஆம்பியர்ல என்ன, what is my ampere law? இப்ப chatல எதுவும் போடாதீங்கப்பா, because I have to go to the system, then I have to see my chat. What is Ampere law? Physics படிச்சிருக்கோம்ப்பா 11th physicsலயே படிச்சிருப்போமே. Magnetic circuits தான் 11th 10thலயே படிச்சிருப்போம். Magnetic circuits தான். அட்லீஸ்ட் இது என்ன தெரியுமா? மேக்னெட்டிக் சர்க்யூட்ஸ்ல மேக்னெட்டிக் ஃப்ளக்ஸ் லிங்கேஜ் என்னன்னா, மேக்னெட்டிக் ஃபீல்ட் டென்சிட்டி என்னன்னா, மேக்னெட்டிக் ஃபீல்ட் இன்டென்சிட்டி என்ன தெரியுமா? இதோட டெஃபினிஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் தெரியுமா? தெரியுமா? தெரியும் சொல்லுங்க. தெரியாதுன்னா தெரியும் சொல்லுங்க. அது பிகாஸ் இது இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். இதை தெரிஞ்சாதான் நம்ம வந்து டெரைவ் பண்ண முடியும் எக்ஸ்பிரஷனை. Whether you know about magnetic circuits?
Yes, sir.
இந்த பிவர்ட்ஸ் லா படிச்சிருப்பீங்க, ஆம்பியர்ஸ் லா படிச்சிருப்பீங்க, ரைட்? மேக்னெட் என்ன, மேக்னெட்டிக் ஃப்ளக்ஸ் என்ன, ஃபீல்டு என்ன, ரைட்? ஃபீல்ட் டென்சிட்டி என்ன, இன்டென்சிட்டி, ரிலக்டன்ஸ் என்ன, இதுதான் வந்து இட்ஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஹியர். If you know about what is magnetic circuit, then only we can able to derive the expression for your inductance. Okay, so in this two things are going to be of an important. One is going to be of your Maxwell right hand thumb rule, right? How about your direction of your magnetic field? Next is going to be of your Ampere law. Then if you know about your Ampere law, then you can know how to know about your magnetic field intensity. Magnetic field intensity. Then you can able to calculate what is your magnetic flux density. If you are able to calculate your magnetic flux density means you can able to calculate your magnetic flux linkages. If you are able to calculate your magnetic flux linkages, you can able to calculate your inductance. Okay, so just have a recap, then we will do the derivation in the next session. Okay, just read your magnetic circuits. So any doubt in the today's session? Any doubt? Students, any doubt? There is no response. எப்பா ஏதாவது புரிஞ்சுதா இல்லைங்களா?
சார் 2 பேரும் நோ டவுட் தான் சார் போட்டிருக்காங்க.
Okay sir, okay sir. So then we will see in the next session.